Hey guys, my name is Abhishek and welcome back to MBBS channel. Today we are going to discuss about cardiovascular system. What is the type of system this cardiovascular system includes and what are the main subtopics that we should know initially, like what is the heart, what is the greater blood circulation, then what is the lesser blood circulation, then what is the mediastinum, what are the contents of mediastinum, and finally what is the topography of a heart. So let's begin today's topic. Like, what is a heart? Heart is a hollow muscular organ that is responsible for pumping all the blood throughout our body, and it supplies the organs, tissues, and through two types of circulations, like greater blood circulation and lesser blood circulation. Greater blood circulation is otherwise known as systematic circulation, and lesser blood circulation is otherwise also known as pulmonary circulation. For describing these two, I have drawn a rough figure to make you understand. So this is the heart. You can see it has four chambers like right atrium and left atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. The greater blood circulation, what does this mean? That the heart pumps the blood to a greater distance. So it is known as greater blood circulation. And lesser blood circulations, it means the heart pumps the blood to a small distance or least distance. So it is known as a lesser blood circulation. The greater blood circulation starts from the left ventricle and its ends are right atrium. How it occurs? The left ventricle pumps the oxygenated blood from the left ventricle through the aorta. This is the arc of aorta, and then continuing to arteries, and then finally ending at capillaries. The oxygenated blood carries through this, and here comes the cells that takes the oxygen, makes the mechanisms or uses the oxygen, and finally gives out the carbon dioxide or deoxygenated blood, and they are drained from the tissue through the venules and then continues through the veins, and the inferior portion of our body drains the deoxygenated blood to the inferior vena cava, and superior portion of our body like head and neck drains the deoxygenated blood to superior vena cava, and finally both superior and inferior vena cava drains the deoxygenated blood to right atrium. Okay, so the greater blood circulation starts from left ventricle and ends at right atrium. Then what is a lesser blood circulation? Lesser blood circulation starts from the right ventricle and ends at the left atrium. How does it occur? The lesser ventricles or lesser blood circulations starts from right ventricle, means the right ventricle pumps the deoxygenated blood that are supplied through the SBC and IBC to RA or right atrium, and from right atrium it comes to the right ventricle. Then from the right ventricle it carries through the pulmonary trunk. Then pulmonary trunk is divided into right and left pulmonary arteries that carries to lungs, two of the lungs, for deoxygenation or detoxification of the deoxygenated blood. After oxygenation of the blood, the oxygenated blood carried by the pulmonary veins to the left artery. So starting from the right ventricle and ending at left artery. This is called lesser blood circulation. One question arises here, that if this pulmonary artery and pulmonary about this pulmonary artery and veins, that pulmonary arteries carries the deoxygenated blood while the pulmonary veins carries the oxygenated blood. Why? Because the artery, what do you mean by artery? Artery that supplies the blood to a organ or a tissue. And veins means they drains out the deoxygenated blood from a organ or a tissue. Similarly, we can prove this, that this vessel carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. So it will be called as the artery, as it is a carrying vessel. If it will be a draining vessel, so like this, if it is a draining vessel, it drains the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atrium. So it is known as a pulmonary veins. So it doesn't matter what the vessels contain or what is the content of the vessels. What it matters, artery carries the blood to certain organs and veins drains the blood from a certain organs. Then what is a mediastinum? Mediastinum means it is a complex of organs that occupying the space between two pleural sacs, and it has all the organs of thoracic cavity except lungs. What does this mean? It means that if this is a thoracic cavity or the trunk, okay, and these are two lungs. If these are two lungs, then and the outer covering of lungs is known as pleural sacs. Okay, complex of organs. The organs that are present between the two pleural sacs, the space between the two pleural sacs, that lungs, two pleural sacs. This space, this potential space is known as mediastinum because it doesn't carry the lungs. The lungs are outside, and the space in between them is known as mediastinum. Okay. So next I am going to make you understand more easily and more clearly what is the mediastinum. This is a thoracic cavity that I have drawn, and inside it contains two pleural sacs, and the space present in between the two pleural sacs is known as mediastinum, as we have studied earlier. So now what is the borders of the mediastinum? It has anterior borders, posterior borders, superior, inferior borders. Superiorly bordered by the superior thoracic aperture of the thoracic cavity, inferiorly bordered by the diaphragm, posteriorly bordered by this vertebrae, okay, thoracic vertebrae, and anteriorly it is bordered by sternum, okay, and sternum and costal cartilages. This is the manubrium sterni. This is the manubrium sterni, and this is the angle. Here comes the angle of sterni, and then the body of sternum, and this is the xiphoid process. So it is bordered by anteriorly, posteriorly by vertebrae, inferiorly by diaphragm, superiorly by superior thoracic aperture. This is the anterior view. And if we will be looking to the sagittal view, how it is bordered? Anteriorly by sternum, as you know, posteriorly by this thoracic cavity. Then the mediastinum is divided into two divisions. What are they? Superior divisions and inferior divisions. Like how it is divided? An imaginary horizontal line passing anteriorly through the angle of sterni and coming posteriorly in between the intervertebral disc of fourth and fifth thoracic vertebrae. Imaginary line, okay, it divides the mediastinum into superior and the rest is inferior. The inferior division is again divided into three types: anteriorly, middle and posteriorly. Okay, so inferior division of mediastinum has anterior, middle and posterior divisions. Now the contents of mediastinum. What are the contents, or what the organs are present inside the mediastinum? As you know, it's a complex of organs it contains. So we know that mediastinum is divided into two types, or it has two divisions. First one is superior and inferior divisions. In superior divisions, it contains the organs, vessels, and nerves. I have short forms to remember like TTE, and it has AST, and it has VP. How you can remember easily that it has organs like T for thymus was the organs, then trachea, okay, then esophagus, and then vessels. For vessels, aorta, S for superior vena cava, okay, VC, then T for thoracic duct. It's so simple, like you can remember TTE, AST, and nerves for nerves, BP, B for vagus nerve, and P for phrenic nerves. So this is the content of superior division of mediastinum: organs, vessels, and nerves. TTE for organs, AST for vessels, and VP for nerves. Then comes in the inferior division of mediastinum, what are its contents? It is divided into anterior, middle, and posterior divisions. In Anterior divisions, it has internal thoracic arteries and veins, and it also contains some lymphatic nodes. Okay, in the second of middle mediastinum or middle inferior mediastinum, it contains the important organ that we are going to read, that is heart. Then it contains pericardium, then phrenic nerve. So for posterior division of mediastinum, I have made for easy remembrance. I have divided into it. I have divided it into more specifications like what are organs, vessels, and nerves. Organs, like it contains esophagus. Okay, you can remember it. Esophagus. Then vessels like posterior intercostals arteries and veins, azygous, hemiazygous, then accessory azygous vein. Also, it contains thoracic duct, and in nerves it contains vagus nerve and sympathetic trunk. Okay, you can easily remember according to its subdivisions. Like organs, it contains esophagus. Vessels contains posterior intercostal arteries and veins. Then azygous, hemiazygous, and accessory azygous veins. Then thoracic duct. Then in nerves, it contains the vagus nerve and the sympathetic trunks. So what is the topography of heart? Heart has the holotopy, like in which cavities it is present? It is present in thoracic cavity. Then syntopy means what are the organs that are present nearby the heart? First one is esophagus, that is present posteriorly. Then inferior vena cava and superior vena cava, that is draining into the right atrium posteriorly. Then lungs that are present in the both laterally of the heart. Then skeletotopy. What is the skeletotopy of the heart? Most of its part of the heart lies in the left part. Okay, if this is the axis of or the median line of our body, then most of the heart's part are located in the left portion of our body, and some little part are located in the right side of the body. If this is right, this is left. Okay, right part of the body, and some parts are located. Then base or apex of the heart. This is the base of the heart. The upper uh, towards the superior of the heart is known as the base, and towards the inferior of heart it is known as apex. The base of the heart is exactly located in between the second intercostal space. This is the first rib, this is the second rib, and this is the third rib. So it will be the first intercostal space and it will be the second intercostal space. The base is located in the second intercostal space and the apex is located in between the fifth intercostal space. And here is the mid-clavicular line. The apex is present 1 centimeter towards the left of mid-clavicular line. This green line depicts the mid-clavicular line. Okay.